Everybody, welcome back to Dinner and a Tip. My name is Brenda and I'm going to be your cooking guide for the Blackstone E-Series pizza oven. So people have been asking, do you do it on the tray, do you do it on this one, or do you do it just on the tray inside? So we are going to actually try all three ways to see if one is better than another. So I went ahead, I've got this Delallo Italian pizza dough, so I went ahead and made this. I got this at Cub Foods. You can also get it on Amazon. So it comes with everything you need in the yeast. It's 1 1/4 cup of hot water, and 45 minutes later and you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start us on the rack first. Pizza sauce I'm using is Devani's, which I think is just kind of a Minnesota company, but we're going to go ahead and do that. You can do any kind of marinara sauce on these, are good. And we're going to add a little bit of pepperoni for this one. And then we're going to go ahead. I do have a pizza oven already preheated. Now with this one, I went ahead and I know the preset is for 610 degrees, but I kind of found that 580 is a little bit better temperature for what we're doing. So let's go ahead and top this with some cheese. And then I've kind of done all three different, actually, you know what, I've only done it right on the steel turner, but I'm actually curious because so many people have been asking what's the best way. So let's go ahead and throw this in. So it does only take about 3 to 4 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that going. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and do another thing of crust. So what I like about the crust that I got is it does make 4 pizzas. You know, you can go ahead, they say it's good for up to like 3-4 days in the refrigerator as long as you keep it covered. And we're gonna go ahead and work on this. So, we did take a little bit of a break because 1, I got locked out of my Gmail account and couldn't do any YouTube videos. And 2, our Blackstone oven actually died. We used it 4 times and for some reason it just stopped working. We didn't have anything on here that was like overloaded. So I called Blackstone and basically they said they could send out replacement parts. And I'm like, well, when do the replacement parts come? They're like, we don't know because they're on back order. And I explained to the lovely lady that I'm not allowed to use tools in the house anymore. I do more damage than good. So because of that, I'm like, I probably shouldn't be, you know, putting electrical things in that I can burn my own house down with. So she suggested calling QVC because Blackstone actually doesn't have these ovens in stock, only QVC did. So I called QVC and their customer service was amazing. They were quick to help me out. I noticed now that they are sold out of these ovens. They are coming back, I believe, April 17th. So if you didn't get one, you still have a chance. But QVC was really good. Blackstone was really good. They were great about wanting to help out with their products. So I did very much appreciate that. So other than it dying, and I know a couple other people have had some issues with it dying, and I know they were able to swap them out. So see, we've been cooking about 2 minutes. The one thing I like about this, if you cook on the rack, so if you have tried sliding this in on the stand or on the steel disc, it doesn't always slide off super easy. You can't do a lot of heavy toppings. It has to be really light when you're putting it in there. Otherwise it's gonna get stuck. It's not gonna slide off. So if you're doing a thicker pizza or a pizza with a lot of toppings, this is definitely a much better option to go with. So as far as the heat goes, it takes about 10 minutes to get to temperature, and the only other negative thing I can say is it does take up a lot of counter real estate, but the fact that you can do it as a pizza oven, an air fryer, I did stuffed mushrooms in this yesterday and it worked out awesome. So the little light only stays on for like a minute or 2 at a time, so if you want to keep checking it, you gotta hit that light. And the only other negative thing I could say is the directions did not come with this. It didn't say anything super good about how recipes, when you went ahead and hit the warranty and it says get great recipes. well, it's just Blackstone recipes, not specific to this, but basically anything in the pizza oven or air fryer, you can just look up any recipe. You don't need anything specific or special for this. I don't know if you can scroll in on this and actually see the pizza is definitely cooking. It's definitely getting nice and bubbly. The other thing is when you take these pizzas out, they are super hot. So you got to be really careful that you're not putting it, especially if you have granite countertops, directly on a countertop because you can crack your countertops. But let's go ahead and pull this one out. So the other thing with this is it doesn't come with the pizza peel. You can get these at Walmart, Amazon, probably 15, 20 bucks. So let's go ahead and slide this first pizza off. So actually, I'm already seeing that this is definitely not cooked. It looks a little raw on there. So when I know I cook right on the plate, it definitely cooks faster. And maybe we'll hit this up a little bit. So this does come with preset times. You do need to adjust those. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this another minute or two and take a look at it to see if that underside gets cooked or not, or if we need to go ahead and throw it directly on the steel plate that's inside to get a better crust on that pizza. So we'll be back in just a minute. All right, so I gave this an extra minute, so let's go ahead and check our pizza. So it is 100% cooked on top, but underneath, it is definitely on the doughy side. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this. Woo! That was sketchy.
Really?
All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and throw that in there and see if that makes a difference. So
Mom's to hit it. No.
all right, so we are gonna check our pizza now. So I had done this on the air fry rack. It definitely did not cook all the way like I wanted. This is, I guess I would probably do the air rack. I think it's fine. The crust just isn't as crispy as the other ones are. So let's go ahead and try just doing the pan. So we're gonna go ahead, put our pizza crust in direct and see if this actually helps. So again, first experiment, I would say, is a fail. Don't just put your pizza on here, but let's go ahead and try this one instead. So we're just gonna do this as a plain cheese pizza. And you wanna make sure that you get yours preheating again. It's amazing how fast it cools off on these, so. Okay, so let's go ahead, throw some cheese on here, give that a little bit. So the temperature is already down to 400. Oh, hang on. So you have to go ahead and reset it every time. It doesn't go back to what it was. It just goes back to whatever the original was. So we've got our pizza. Let's go ahead and throw this one in and see if we do any better on this. It's still preheating, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in anyways. And just make sure I hit start for fresh pizza. So we're gonna give that a minute, and then we're gonna go ahead and work on one last pizza that we're gonna put directly on the steel plate inside. All right, so experiment number 2 in the pan. I'm gonna give this a second to cool off first, but let's go ahead and do our next pizza. So I'm gonna do this as a margarita pizza. You wanna make sure that you get a little bit of flour underneath before you put it on the slide. Not a ton, but you're gonna need it so it's gonna slide off. Okay, let's do a little bit of sauce on this one. I can tell you now, I've done a lot of pizzas. Some days I master it and it slides off great, and other days not as good. So we'll see where we're at today. So I'm gonna do some fresh mozzarella on this one. And I'm gonna do a little tomato underneath our mozzarella. I've seen it done this way a couple times. And I'll go ahead and throw a little extra mozzarella on this. And I've got some fresh basil here that I'm going to go ahead and toss on here. All right. The basil plant has seen better days, but I think we got enough to get it started. So let's slide this hot guy down and see if I can get this off. Not my best, not my worst. All right. So let's get that cooking and let's take a look at this pizza. See if we can get it out of this pan. So you have to let me know in the comments if you guys have experimented with this stuff or not. This definitely doesn't want to slide out as easily. All right, there we go. All right, so let's take a look. So we have this one that we did in the pan. The crust is cooked, but it's definitely not as crispy as what it usually is from here. But I mean, you still get a little bit of a crunch when you do this, but it's a little bit brown. But I'm guessing our best is going to be when we're cooking directly on the steel plate. But let's give it a try anyways. The pizza definitely tastes good. It definitely doesn't have the same crunch. So let's go ahead and try this one. As you can see, it's got a little brown. It's definitely got a little crunch to it, but we'll have to wait and give this one a try. So this one definitely looks like it's cooking a little bit faster because it's direct on the heat, but the crust on this one is definitely a little bit thicker. And I think it's cooked a little bit better, so. But definitely not pizza restaurant crunchy. So look how pretty this one is actually turning out. So I think we've got 2 minutes in. You're going to want to watch each individual pizza when you're doing this, especially if you're doing more than one at a time, because it does cool off so much once you open up this door. So you're going to want to give it a little bit of time to go ahead and get back up to temperature to get them to cook within the 5 minutes. So we're about 2 minutes in, so we'll be right back once this is done and we'll pull it out. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this one. So this is my margarita pizza. Now that I think about it, I probably should have put the basil on after we were done cooking the pizza, but that's all right. So this crust is definitely, it's kind of hard to show, but it's definitely a lot crisper and definitely cooked all the way. So go ahead and just take a little chunk off the side. But as you can see here, it's definitely browner. It could probably be left in a little longer. I like my cheese lightly melted, not like overly, but this crust, I guess from what I've experienced, I would probably definitely just cook on the steel turntable versus trying to cook with the other two. I definitely had a better outcome. But if you've tried it and you've had a better outcome, just let me know in the notes. So I'm gonna try this crust. I would say out of all 3 methods of cooking, this is definitely going to be the best when you go ahead and throw it right on the steel plate. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you next time.